hurricane season like 2005, most of the numbers that you could attribute to the season are record-setting.
It has an incredible 28 named storms, 15 of which are hurricanes. 7 of those are major, including 4 Category 5s with sustained winds of at least 156 miles per hour.
The Atlantic Ocean was exceptionally warm, so there was tremendous fuel for storms to develop.
Hurricane Dennis sets the tone in early July, when the Category 3 kills 88 people in the Caribbean and Florida. Days later, Emily, the 3rd hurricane of the season, explodes.
Emily reached Cat 5. Oh my gosh, that doesn't happen too often in July.
In fact, it's the only known Category 5 hurricane on record in July. Emily weakens to a Category 4, but still delivers a 1-2 punch.
2 landfalls as a major hurricane, one on the Yucatan Peninsula and then another one on the mainland of northeastern Mexico.
A month later, Hurricane Katrina is one for the ages.
It was a couple of different systems that merged to form Katrina near the Bahamas.
After passing over the Florida Peninsula as a Category 1 hurricane, Katrina continues into the Gulf.
And that's when it really began its multiple periods of rapid intensification. First, from a tropical storm to a major hurricane to Cat 3, and then from Cat 3 to Cat 5 in a short amount of time after that.
The massive storm is on a collision course with the Gulf states, from Alabama to Texas. Winds up to 174 miles per hour make forecasters' blood run cold.
I get on the hurricane hotline to alert all of the Weather Service forecast offices in the Gulf of Mexico. And when I told them what the intensity was, silence.
Katrina weakens to a Category 3 hurricane as it hones in on Louisiana and Mississippi.
Even though Katrina weakened from Cat 5 to Cat 3 by the time it made landfall on the northern Gulf Coast, it had grown in size horizontally and was hitting a very low-lying, vulnerable area.
Areas along coastal Mississippi are annihilated. New Orleans narrowly escapes a direct hit, but in the aftermath suffers catastrophic damage when its floodwalls fail.
The entire northern part of the city was completely underwater up to the second floors of many of those homes.
Some 1,800 people die in the hurricane. Damage is estimated at $125 billion, the costliest in U.S. history.
We all knew New Orleans was very vulnerable, but Katrina was a grim reminder of just how vulnerable.
And the hostile season continues. In late September, Hurricane Rita spreads more panic across the Gulf Coast. Peaking as a Category 5 offshore, Rita makes landfall as a Category 3. Thankfully, it misses New Orleans, but causes some 60 deaths and $18 billion in damage on the Texas-Louisiana border.
It wasn't the kind of levee and flood wall scenario. It was just low-lying areas of southwestern Louisiana where the storm surge penetrated miles inland.
The 4th Category 5 hurricane of 2005 is Wilma, which reaches maximum strength with 185-mile-per-hour winds on October 19th.
Well, Wilma will be remembered for its astronomically rapid intensification over the Western Caribbean. Basically went from next to nothing to major hurricane in less than a day.
Wilma weakens before striking Mexico and Florida, but makes its mark as the most intense tropical cyclone ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin. The 2005 Atlantic hurricane season was the most active in recorded history. A staggering 28 storms were named. 15 were hurricanes, 7 of them major.
This was an incredible season because, you know, we talk about average numbers. This season blew average out of the water.
It was also the longest Atlantic hurricane season, lasting way past its normal end in November into January.
We had to go into the Greek alphabet to start naming storms. We'd never done that before.
Among the hurricanes, 4 were Category 5s, the highest strength on the scale, and a single-season record.
Emily, Katrina, Rita, Wilma. I mean, all in one season. It's astounding.
The hurricane epidemic was caused by exceptionally warm Atlantic waters that acted like a fuel tank. A lack of wind shear meant there was little change in wind speed and direction, so the storms were free to strengthen.
Wilma actually became the strongest hurricane to ever form in the Atlantic Basin. It also was the fastest to strengthen in the Atlantic Basin.
But the storm of all storms in 2005 was Hurricane Katrina, which hit in late August.
Katrina stands out because this is the storm that really lived up to the worst-case scenario.
Forming near the Bahamas as a Category 1 hurricane, Katrina moves west and balloons to a Category 5 monster that threatens the Gulf Coast.
You saw this move over the South Florida and get into the Gulf of Mexico, and I think we all thought, oh no.
All the Gulf states are put on high alert, especially low-lying New Orleans, Louisiana, with its aging flood defenses.
They have levees in place, and many times they've worked, and you always feared that there was going to be a time where that was not going to be enough. And Katrina was it.
This is 25 feet above sea level, and it's still rising.
Though it's reduced to a Category 3 storm by the time it makes landfall, Katrina scores a devastating hit from Louisiana to Alabama. Mississippi bears the brunt, suffering storm surges of up to 28 feet.
Because we were talking about an extremely powerful storm, the winds and the push of this water was just crashing over these communities.
Hurricane-force winds are felt 200 miles inland from the Mississippi coast. 100,000 people are left homeless. 238 are killed, and the state suffers $25 billion worth of damage.
So you basically just had a wall of water just come in and pushed everything inland.
Meanwhile, in New Orleans, the worst fears come true when the levees prove no match for Katrina's destructive surge of water.
The fact that they did not function obviously is a huge part of Katrina's legacy.
The total death toll from Katrina tops 1,800 people, with Louisiana suffering some 1,500 of those fatalities. The cost of property damage is put at over $100 billion, making it the most costly hurricane in U.S. history.
You know, you think about the disasters that have happened in this country. There have been big ones, from fires to floods to winter storms to tornado outbreaks. But Hurricane Katrina tops them all.